Welcome to the Deep Wealth Podcast, where you learn how to extract your business and personal deep wealth. I'm your host, Jeffrey Feldberg. This podcast is brought to you by Deep Wealth and the 90-Day Deep Wealth Experience. When it comes to your business deep wealth, your exit or liquidity event is the most important financial decision of your life. But unfortunately, up to 90% of liquidity events fail. Think about all that time and your hard-earned money wasted. Of the quote-unquote successful liquidity events, most business owners leave 50% to over 100% of the deal value in the buyer's pocket and don't even know it. I should know. I said no to a 7-figure offer and yes to mastering the art and the science of a liquidity event. 2 years later, I said yes to a different buyer with a 9-figure deal. Are you thinking about an exit or liquidity event? Don't become a statistic and make the fatal mistake of believing the skills that built your business are the same ones to sell it. After all, how can you master something you've never done before? Let the 90-Day Deep Wealth Experience and the 9-step roadmap of preparation help you capture the best deal instead of any deal. At the end of this episode, take a moment and hear from business owners like you who went through the Deep Wealth Experience. Marcot Torres is the founder of marketingboost.com, where he has helped thousands of business owners worldwide boost sales and scale their businesses by as much as 5-fold through the use of incentive-based marketing. Marcot teaches entrepreneurs how to soar sales and marketing through the use of value-added incentives instead of discounts. His Facebook group is home to more than 27,000 active business owners who are raking in sales with his advice and amazingly affordable subscription program. Welcome to the Sell My Business podcast. And for all you listeners out there, I have a really loaded question for you. And it's a rhetorical question. I think you're going to love it. Would you be interested to learn how you could boost your sales by 60% or more? And when you think about that, your revenue is going up, your profits going up. If you're having a liquidity event, your enterprise value is going up, or maybe you're just going to keep a thriving and profitable company forever. But how do you do it? What's involved? Well, that's exactly what we're going to be talking about today with our guest. So Marco, welcome to the Deep Wealth Sell My Business podcast. Absolutely excited and delighted to have you with us today. And there's always a story behind the story, Marco. What's your story? What got you to where you are today?
Thanks for having me, Jeffrey. So my story is I've been an entrepreneur since I was 9 years old. I don't know where it came from. My dad, I guess, had that spirit. He was transferred to Puerto Rico from Texas as a young man, and we followed along as kids. By the time I was 9, I was running a huge paper out and featured on the front page of a newspaper by the age of 12 as the biggest paper route they'd ever seen. Then by the time I was 23, I owned 5 restaurants and a nightclub. I went on to sell the restaurants to Taco Bell, which is kind of 5 of them, a few of them anyway, in Puerto Rico. So that kind of fits in with your storyline here, is build it to sell it. And so Taco Bell wanted the locations we had. And then I got out of the restaurant business and got into the travel space and, hit rock bottom actually in 2008. I was one of the victims of 2008, lost everything. I can put it this way. I had one of my best sales years ever in 2008. Sold my cars, my house, my boats, my furniture. I mean, you name it, started all over and built myself back up. So I reinvented myself again. And today we run a very successful business called marketingboost.com, where we help thousands of business owners around the world thrive versus just survive by using our incentives to help boost sales, to help acquire more clients. We teach people how to use these value-add incentives versus discounting, for example, by plugging in incentives to a variety of whatever their niche is. They work for nearly anything, to add to your call to action to boost sales. And we can get into that along the way here, Jeffrey.
Yeah, I love that. So always terrific to speak to another business owner who, as you said, built a business and then sold it. And that in the seat experience is just going to be invaluable with what we're talking about today. But let me ask you this. Let's take a quick step back so we can take many steps forward. And the question for you would be this, because I know when I speak to most business owners and I ask them my favorite question, what's keeping you up at nights? It's usually the same answer. Jeffrey, we are the best kept secret. We have done incredible things, but we can't get customers, or we're not sure how to expand or get in front of the right people to have the world know about us. Generally speaking, and we'll go into the specifics, but generally speaking, from a 50,000 foot in the air view, what do most business owners, what are they not getting or not doing that they remain the best kept secret?
Yeah, that's a good question. There's no substitute for paid ads of some sort or another. You do have to invest in advertising. My partners and I, we've spent over the last 10 years over $70 million on Facebook alone. So, once you find the niche, you've got to be willing to invest a few dollars. And as soon as it starts turning in, you invest two, you get four out, then you need to reinvest it back in and keep finding the magic until you finally get the ads that are working the way you want them. And then once you do, pour it on, and don't just go with well, this is my budget. So once you find it, ads or campaigns that are working, really throw it on until it stops working. And when it stops working, then add time to pivot, switch, test, test, test. A/B testing like crazy is what it takes to really figure out what's going to get whatever your target market is to take action.
Marco, nudge, nudge, wink, wink, only 70 million. I mean, come on, you got to pick things up a little bit. What's going on? Only 70 million.
Yeah, I should have been getting some private flights with Mark Zuckerberg, but I never even met the guy.
Wow. So that's a terrific spend that you're doing there, but obviously you're getting an ROI on that. And for our listeners, I hope you paid really close attention to what Marco was talking about, because it's a page right out of our book here at Deep Wealth. Because what Marco was saying was, hey, forget budgets. Just put those out the window. They don't work. Lots of testing. And Marco, you didn't say this, but I suspect you probably do many small tests that don't cost a lot. You find out what works, and then you just pour it on. And why have a budget if something's working and you're doing it right and you're able to bring in the business and you're profitable from that? You're not losing money on it. Let's presume you're doing things right with that. You have an unlimited spend in terms of what you can do. And it seems like that, as simple as it sounds, easier said than done, that has gotten lost, in my opinion, today with all the social media and the social marketing, and let me get fans and let me get likes and let me just build up a social base, where we're just missing the boat on that. Any thoughts or comments on that?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Again, I agree with you wholeheartedly. You do, we never spent big bucks out of the gate. You're spending small campaigns with $100, a couple of $100, and see what works. And if it had some successes, tweak it a little bit, throw some more money at it. And if it panned out, once it starts working, though, flood it. And then if it doesn't, until it stops working, as long as it's working, and you're tweaking the target markets, the remarketing, and all this different stuff, and then you keep A/B testing along the way. When you have something that's working, now you might change one. Remember, when you make changes, change one thing at a time. You don't want to change necessarily change everything, and then you don't know what it is. It's why it's not working. So you're making one or two changes at a time in those A/B tests, so that you can monitor if it improved it. If it didn't, skip that, try another change. And that could be those changes could be anything from colors, from fonts to, taglines to subject lines. There's a million things that you can change, to keep on changing and when you do find it, again, be willing to spend the money, because as long as you're making a profit from it, why do you want to hold it back to a certain budget? Why do you want to say, well, we only spend 30 grand a month in marketing, when if you're making 100, why not spend 100 grand a month so you can make 400, whatever it is.
I'm with you. I couldn't agree more. So let me ask you this: whether I'm a business that's perhaps low tech, maybe I'm in manufacturing, or maybe I'm in high tech, maybe I have some kind of SaaS business, is there any general kind of rule of, hey, we're really better suited for this industry or that industry? Or are you industry agnostic? What does this look like in terms of what you're doing?
With the Marketing Boost product, we actually have everything from lemonade stands up in New York somewhere, to car dealerships in Chicago, to direct salespeople, marketers, marketing agencies. We've got solopreneurs, direct salespeople, mostly B2C, I would say our clients are. We have a number of B2B as well. We have agencies that use our services in a B2B model. So it really is just about being a little bit creative. And of course, we can get into right now, we haven't even touched on what Marketing Boost really is right now. Yeah, we haven't found any niche that it really can't help in one way or another.
Well, you read my mind. So now that you're saying, hey, we're industry agnostic, it doesn't really matter what you're in, where there's a will, there's a way we can help you. So let's talk about that. So I'm a business owner, or maybe I'm heading up marketing, or I'm heading up sales, and I reach out and I'm saying, okay, Marketing Boost, here I am, heard you on the podcast and liked what I heard. Please help me. What goes on with your process? What does that look like time wise and involvement wise? What should I be expecting?
Well, two things I'd like to tell you is first what we are in a nutshell, and then later let me tell how we came about. But in a nutshell, what we are is a super affordable tool that allows any small entrepreneur or big entrepreneur to the ability to give away. We're a subscription model. And by the way, it's only $37 a month to get started. So it's not a big investment. It's a no-brainer for anybody out there, whether you're a home-based network marketer, multi-level marketer, or you're a huge, 8-figure a year business. So we have a subscription model that allows you the ability to give away an unlimited amount of 3 different types of categories of incentives that we've developed. These are the first category is complimentary hotel stays in over 125 destinations around the world. So you as a business owner can give away 3-night stays in places like Las Vegas, Orlando, San Diego, Branson, Myrtle Beach, Daytona Beach, Miami Beach, New York, you name it, 30 destinations all over the US. 5-night stays in places like Cancun, Mexico, Hawaii, 7-night stays in places like Phuket, Thailand, or Bali. We have about a dozen destinations all over Australia, all over Europe. So we cover, entrepreneurs all over the world. And then we have the second category. These are hotel savings cards. They work kind of like a gift card, but they don't cover the entire hotel stay. They end up discounting the rooms from about 10 to 50% off compared to the online retailers like Expedia. And so they come in increments of $100, $200, $300, and $500 in cash credit savings. And the third category is restaurant savings vouchers. And these are good at about 100,000 outlets all over the US and Canada. Buy one, get one free, 10% off, 25% off, promotions from different vendors all over the US and Canada. So the key now is, okay, well, I pay $37 a month. I get these 3 different categories. How do I use them? And what can they do for my business? And Jeffrey, in a way, if I tell the story on how we even were born, I can explain one of the most, a key tool or a key tip that nearly any industry, any business can implement right away and take advantage of incentives to help do that.
Oh, come on, Marco. You just threw that out there. So, of course, let's hear it. What's going on with that? What's your origin story? What did that all look like?
So we started in the travel space, as I mentioned earlier. We had a business that was really booming. We were becoming one of the fastest growing travel companies in North America. And one of the ways that we had an idea that we knew if we had video testimonials from our clients, we'd be able to leverage that into thousands of more sales. And so with the credibility, the social media proof with video testimonials. And so we scratched our heads and what could we do? What could motivate our clients to actually go out of their way and film us a video testimonial, selfie video from the beaches of the resorts around the world and so forth. And so we came up with this idea. And here's the tip that anybody can implement. If you're not soliciting reviews and testimonials on a constant basis, then you're only going to get the negatives. Most people don't go out of their way to write a review except when they're unhappy. When they're unhappy, they're more than willing to tell everybody. But when they're thrilled, they usually need to be encouraged or at least soliciting, ask for it, So here's what we did. We started a survey, and here's the key. We would do a survey the day after they checked into the hotel. We'd send them an email and a text message before they arrived saying, hey, hope you have a wonderful, safe trip. The day after check-in, we'd follow up with another email and text message and say, how are we doing? How is the hotel living up to your expectations? And how is our service so far? Would you rate us on a scale of 1 to 5? And if they gave us a 4 or 5 via our automation platform, which, by the way, you must have automation in today's world. So we would send out automated artificial intelligence there. If they gave us a 4 or 5, they got a message saying, would you please do us a huge favor? We're thrilled you're having a wonderful time and you're loving the hotel. Would you help us spread the word about this brand, this hotel, and film a selfie video testimonial from the beach, from the resort, from the pool, the bar, the restaurant, whatever you like best. and share that with us. And if you'll do that, we'll reward you with a complimentary hotel stay in your choice of Las Vegas or Orlando. And that took off. Before we knew it, we had dozens of these coming in, and then several hundred of these video testimonials coming in. We were leveraging them all over our website. We were turning them into thousands of additional sales, and that continued to grow. And so now we needed to, as those people raised their hands and they wanted to use that free trip we promised them, we're having to dig into our pockets to pay for those bonus trips we promised. And we're like, oh, this is getting expensive. Now what? So that's where the next idea came about is, well, what if let's go reach out to our hotel partners. And here's what we did. We said, look, we know you've got a problem. We know your hotels are not full year round. You guys know, yeah, you're full on certain weekends. You're full for holidays. You're full for peak season. You're full for Christmas week, New Year's, 4th of July. But 70% of the year, 30% of your rooms are going empty. And empty means no revenue at all, yet you still have all the same fixed costs. You're still paying the mortgage, the front desk stuff, housekeeping. You've got the landscape maintenance, yada, yada. So we convinced a few hotels in Orlando and Vegas at the beginning so that we could fulfill our own free trips. And we'd say, look, let us put warm bodies in those rooms, people that are going to spend money at the restaurant, the bar, the casino, the spa, the gift shop, the excursion desks, the ticket sales, attraction sales. And they agreed. And so we had a few participating, and now we were fulfilling our own incentives with these deals that we had with our hotels in Orlando and Vegas. And then we came up with the idea, well, imagine if we had hundreds of destinations or hundreds of participating hotels around the world, how this could be a standalone travel incentive business. And so we took off on that task. And eventually now we have over 125 destinations around the world, hundreds of hotels that participate. And we've created a win-win-win situation where the resorts win because they're getting some revenue versus none on what would have otherwise been unsold hotel rooms. Empty rooms. 2, our Marketing Boost member really wins because they have the ability to use our incentives to create additional value to their calls to action, to get more appointments, to solicit reviews, to close high ticket sales, to get people to book an appointment for a Zoom call, whatever it might be. I'll get more into the ideas in a moment. But then, so it's a win for the Marketing Boost member, and it's a win for the consumer. Obviously, they're getting a complimentary hotel stay or a hotel savings card, et cetera. So we created that win-win-win, and then we turned it into what became today, marketingboost.com. And it's thousands of business owners that use us around the world. So,
wow, love the story and how it really came out of a need for yourself. You had a problem. Painful problem at that. You figured it out, worked for you, and now you're sharing it with others so that they can benefit, they can prosper, you can pay it forward. Now, Marco, I know there's some listeners in our community, and I'm going to be a little bit cynical here. As entrepreneurs, you and I were always the glass is half full, sun is always out, things are always terrific. Let me flip that for just a moment because I suspect some listeners are saying, Marco, you sound like a great guy. You have a terrific story. My business, it's a sophisticated business. I'm at the corporate level. I'm dealing with high-level executives and, business to business. If I put that out there, maybe it's going to harm my image. Does it really work in that kind of environment? I can imagine some people saying that. What would you say to someone who has those kinds of concerns or questions?
Sure. First, I would say a couple of things I left out there. One of the questions most people ask right away is, oh yeah, what kind of do I have to do a 3-hour timeshare presentation or something like that? So when we decided to do this, and we're not the first to be in the travel incentive space. So when we decided to get in it, we said, well, we want to do it different than everybody else and make it a lot better. So one, there's never any kind of timeshare presentation that's required. It's easy to use. We've also created the only online platform. So the end user using the incentive, if you've used travel incentives from other people before, again, others have been around for decades. Most of them they're designed to be difficult to use. Our competitors are like, you got to give them 60 days advance notice to travel. You've got to give them maybe 2 dates, 90 days apart. And so at the end of the day, they are not attractive to, for many business owners because the end user experience is a pain in the ass to use it, so to speak. And if that's what it is, then it didn't help you, it hurts you. And so we have the only online platform that consumers, after they activate the certificate, they can immediately log in, look at the dates that are available, or put in their preferred dates, see what's available, and book it, get instant confirmation, instant gratification, no hoops to jump through, no phone sales pitches to listen to, or sales or call on the other end when they travel as well. So we made that easy. And so to answer your question about credibility or using it in the business to business space with high-end users, it actually, I found for many a client, it works even better the more high-end the offer is, where it's more believable. I mean, if you use one of our, let's say you want to give away a 5-night trip to Cancun, Mexico. If you tried to do that with a $100 purchase, make this $100 purchase, and I'm going to give you a 5-night trip to Cancun. Believe me, it does still work, but it also raises the question of, really, how can you give me a $1,500 vacation, hotel stay in Cancun for a $100 purchase? That doesn't make sense. On the other hand, if it's a high ticket purchase, if it's a long-term commitment, for example, I teach our clients, create loyalty at the same time and scarcity and urgency when you use our incentives, make them earn it. So you might say, you know what, when you hire our firm and you stick with us for 12 months, on the anniversary of your 12 months with us, we're going to reward you with a 6-day, 5-night trip to Cancun, Mexico on us. We're going to get your hotel stay. And then I would suggest you do the disclaimers of, it doesn't include airfare, it won't include airfare, it won't include your food and beverage or the government taxes and fees, but we'll got your hotel stay on us. And you might do that with 12 months, sign up for our service, pay for 12 months in advance. So you go from somebody who would have been month to month otherwise. Now you say, look, if you go ahead and step up to our annual plan, not only will you save 15% by paying the entire year up front, but when you do that, we're going to throw in the 13th month free. I always teach you, add value of your own as well if you can. Add bonus units of your own or something like pay for 12 months, get the 13th month free. And we're going to throw in a 5-night trip to your choice of Cancun or Hawaii on us. And you'll be your own airfare, food and beverage, and taxes, but we'll throw in your hotel stay on us. And, that's a $1,500 value. That's what you're paying for our coaching or whatever it might be. And you're getting the adding that high perceived value to the call to action as an example. Jeffrey, does that kind of help explain what?
Yeah, it does. So let's do a little bit of a deep dive into some of the details here. So, and let's use the higher end example. Maybe I'm B2B or I'm some kind of a SaaS company or who knows what it is, but I have a higher end kind of offering and I'm saying, okay, Marco, you know what? Let's give this a try. I've heard what you say that it can actually help me not harm my image and help with client retention or even get new clients. So how does that work? So once we sign up with you, and again, as that business owner or that marketing professional or sales professional who's working with you, we're now a client. What happens next in terms of how do I integrate this in my offerings and what does it all look like?
Sure. So one suggestion we have, $37 a month, or you could pay the annual plan. So if you pay our annual plan, it's only $347 for the year. And that includes a deep dive, a 4-week fast cash boot camp training course, where we go through 8 hours of sessions of deep dive in how to use these incentives in different ways for different industries and different niches and so forth. But regardless of that, once you sign up, you immediately have access in the members portal to be able to start with giving yourself a complimentary hotel stay so you can check out the program yourself and go through the process so you can see how it works. And if you use it yourself, you're going to be a believer in the program and you're going to want to easily start giving these to your clients. One thing I recommend right away for our best resorts right now, we've recently brought on some amazing resorts in Cancun, Mexico. You've heard me pitching that already, but we have a family of hotels in the Riviera Maya, Playa del Carmen area called the Fives, the Residence, the Fives on the beach, the Fives Residences in Playa del Carmen. These are AAA rated 4-diamond hotels, basically 5-star resorts on the beach, 15 restaurants and bars. And these are phenomenal properties that are valued at about a $1,200 to $1,800 value. And the taxes and fees the consumer is paying is about $32 a night to be able to use a complimentary hotel stay. So I didn't cover that scenario. When somebody activates the certificate, the government's always going to get paid. When somebody checks into these hotels, they expect to get paid the average, whatever is supposed to be coming their way for the taxes and fees for check-in, the tourism fees and so on. So we get billed by the hotel. Minimum, we have to pay the government taxes. That's what we call an activation fee that needs to be paid either by the business owner who's giving away the complimentary trip. They can fund their wallet in marketing boosts, and they can give a totally free trip to the consumer where they're only paying their airfare and their food and beverage. Or they can do what most of our members do, is let the client pay that activation fee which is paid up front. And then they get 18 months to log in, look for their travel dates, and book their hotel stay. So, Jeffrey, that the process is really super simple. It's an online platform. It can be done from a phone, it can be done from the website, from a desktop. You log in, you put the customer's name, phone number, email. It'll send them the certificate via text and email so that the client that they're sending it to receives it instantly. And then it's up to them if they want to activate it and actually want to use it or not. So that becomes how the incentive works.
So then it sounds like as a client of yours, I get to pick and choose where I want to potentially offer my clients in terms of destination spots, how I'm going to include that, what that looks like. That's really all up to me. So really, you're like a matchmaker. Okay, Jeffrey, here you go. You pick from whatever that you want over here, and you can decide what's going to be best for your clients. And off I go. And then in my own marketing, I can build that in and put the messaging and everything else around that. Am I on base with that?
Absolutely. That's exactly how it works. Now, we do have a lot of samples and ideas and coaching. We have a Facebook group with 28,000 business owners in the group that help each other, share ideas with each other, critique each other's campaigns and stuff like that. But yeah, because we don't recommend, for example, that you build a page and list all 125 destinations and say, hey, I'm going to give you, a complimentary hotel stay. You pick from 125. We've had members do that before, but that many choices means no choice at all. So we always recommend you do your campaigns with no more than 2 or 3 choices at a time. And that way you're keeping them. And even though you can give them away like candy if you want to, we also recommend don't do that. Keep them. That's your little marketing mastermind, marketing boost secret. By the way, nobody will know about your client, will never know about Marketing Boost. They're going to redeem these trips on a website called redeemvacations.com. And that's where they'll log in and select the travel dates and book and so forth. But to answer your question, yeah, you build your own sales funnels and you include the complimentary hotel stay. And let me give you examples again, some more examples of how, because many entrepreneurs at this point, they're like, it sounds pretty cool, but I don't get it. I don't see how I would use a travel incentive when I'm an insurance agent. And I'll give you an example. One of my most successful insurance agents, he uses the incentive to say, let me give you a free quote and analyze what you have today. And if I can't find you a better or more affordable product, my guarantee to you is if I can't beat what you already have, I'm going to give you a 4-day, 3-night trip in your choice of Orlando or Las Vegas on me. My guarantee is if I can't beat what you have right now, I'm going to give you a complimentary hotel stay. So he's got people going, oh, really? Let's see if you can't beat what I have with Geico or whatever. And when they meet with him, if he can't beat their price or offer with a better value and better price, then he'll give him a trip. But it didn't cost him anything. It cost him $37 a month. But he got a prospect. He got someone to talk to. He got him on a Zoom call. Another example is to use what I call micro incentives for micro calls to action. Many of us today are trying to get appointments booked for ourselves or our sales team and trying to get them on Zoom calls and make your presentations online. The good part about that, the technology is amazing. We're not having to drive all over town anymore. We can meet people on a Zoom call and boom, 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 one after the other. We're talking to people. However, how often do people book an appointment and then don't show up? I know a lot of people have over 50 to 60% no-show rates, depending upon what you're selling. And so what we have a lot of our members doing is they're using the hotel savings cards, a smaller incentive, like a $100 hotel savings card, good at over 1 million hotels worldwide. And then they'll say, look, book our, no obligation Zoom call appointment. Let's see if we're a good fit to work with each other. But if we know your time is super valuable, we think our time is as well. If you show up on time for the appointment, we're going to reward you with a $100 hotel savings card just for showing up on time.
Marco, that was one of my questions. Okay, so we get overall the incentives. So now you're starting to talk about how I can build that into my outreach and my program. So you gave one example of, hey, I don't want my prospects to be leaving me, just waiting there and not showing up. So I can give them a micro incentive, as you call it, to have them ensure that they're going to be showing up. What have some of your more successful customers, what have they been doing in terms of integrating this or rolling this into their offerings to get people to pay more attention to them than they would otherwise?
You know what? I just had a thought, which kind of answers your question and also gives your listeners an entirely different way to consider using these. I've got a team of, again, insurance agents that come to mind. and they are selling financial products of all sorts. They're financial advisors, not just in selling insurance. And what they do is they like to call lead by giving first. So they're not always on sales mode. And what they'll do is they'll go sponsor fundraising events of all kinds, from churches to police precincts to local school boards to football team to local nonprofits. And they'll go in and say, hey, we'd like to sponsor your next fundraising event on behalf of firm XYZ. And we're going to give you guys a half a dozen complimentary hotel stays that you guys can auction off or do raffles for or what have you. You keep 100% of the money from these vacations that we're going to provide you with. And all we ask for is a few minutes during the event to tell our story, a little bit about who we are. And so you get to brand yourself as a philanthropist, as the authority, as a leader in the community that can afford to help the nonprofit, rub shoulders with other philanthropists, and not be on sales mode. Be just like, hey, we're here to help this nonprofit. And while you're there, I'm like, by the way, anybody, I'm the realty expert. If you're looking for a new home, looking to buy, sell, rent, invest, reach out to me and my firm. This is what we do. We're the experts at, or we're the auto repair shop, whatever business you're in, it works. And you're there, you're handing out business cards and you're getting to talk to people about what you do. And the fact that you came in without being on 100% sales mode makes people want to reach out to you versus not. So that's just another idea, Jeffrey, on how to approach this. And again, our membership is so affordable that even if you only sprinkled in our incentives occasionally as during the year with different promotions, or using it to promote your contest for your own sales staff, or contest for your downline if you're a multi-level marketer, or promotions to engage your dead database. I mean, there's a million different ways, Jeffrey, to use these to help revive an old database, for example.
I hear that, and sounds just like a terrific way to try something new. But I would imagine that there's some people saying, you know what, Marco, this sounds really good, but I don't know, travel today, am I going to be offending people with travel? What's been going on post-pandemic? What would you say to that?
Well, I would say that even during 2020 and 2021, yeah, we took a hit. We had a massive amount of our Marketing Boost members think that the incentives wouldn't work during the pandemic. But we had about half of our members, at least, that stuck with us, and they continued to give them out, and people were activating them. And yes, they weren't using them, but we gave them 24 months to use the incentives instead of 18 months. And they continued to be activated. And of course, this year, boom, and the middle of last year, everybody started using them like crazy this year. I tell you what, right now has never been a better time. I have never seen, so I call it revenge travel right now.
Revenge travel. I love that.
Yeah, it's revenge travel is what I see happening right now. I've never seen so many of these incentives going out the door, so many of them being activated, and so many of them being used because people are just tired of being pent up. They're thrilled that everybody's vaccinated, the masks are coming off, and people are ready to go somewhere, and they are.
So let's do a quick recap here as we've been drinking from a fire hose, Marco, all your information and your insights. So really what you're saying is you've created, for marketing purposes, client retention purposes, getting new clients and sales, really you're like that matchmaker where you've consolidated a whole number of top-rate hotels and destinations, or maybe travel cards, that a business at its own choosing can decide how to build that in. Maybe it's just for client retention, or maybe you're doing an email outreach and you want to put this in as part of your marketing campaign. You're really tuning into what I like to say, the world's favorite radio station, WII.FM, the What's in It for Me radio station.
Yes.
And that's where you're saying to the people that you're speaking with, hey, why don't you, on our account, really enjoy a travel destination for yourself, for your family. And so you're really going beyond the business onto the personal side. And, why not? If people can appreciate that and it has you stand out and makes a difference, then you're making a difference. And we're creating, like you said, a win-win-win. Does that sound about right in terms of how I described it?
Absolutely. You've got your finger on the pulse here. And as you said that, it reminded me of even another simple way to use these, and that's customer service solutions. So when you have, we've used it ourselves in this fashion. You have somebody who's all bent out of shape for some reason. You sent them the wrong product. Somebody on your team dropped the ball. your customer service, you're having to call them up yourself as the owner of the business and apologize and trying to fix the problem before they go and write a negative review online, which they will do if they don't, if they're not satisfied. And so you might call them, and or one of your staff call them and go, listen, we're going to fix the problem. We're going to ship you a new product. We really want to apologize for the screw up or whatever it was. We dropped the ball. We didn't complete the service in time. So we're going to fix the problem. And for your headache, we'd like to arrange for you to get a complimentary hotel stay or a $500 hotel savings card that you can use at 1 million hotels worldwide and save some money on your future hotel bookings, just for part of your aggravation. On top of that, of course, we're going to fix the problem. So now you take somebody who is upset with you, and once you fix the problem and send them the hotel savings card, for example, now they go from being upset to a raving fan and an evangelist for your brand. And then you can come back and survey them again and ask them to post a review. And so you can take problem clients and turn them into evangelists by, obviously, you got to fix whatever the problem was. The incentive won't fix everything, but it's only going to add honey to the problem versus leaving them with the bee sting.
I love that. And I know you said this earlier, but again, I can just imagine there's some listeners saying, okay, you know what, Marco, I was a little bit skeptical coming into this, but I've heard what you say. It's really sounding good, what you're talking about. But, and there's always that but, what's the catch? I know you said there's no catch. There's no painful buy this timeshare presentation that you're doing or anything else like that. Is there anything else? So if I were the end client or the end user and I'm using one of these special promotion packages and I show up to the destination, what am I doing outside of checking in and just enjoying having some fun in the sun? Is there anything else that's required of me?
Absolutely nothing else. So there is no obligations for anything. There's no obligations to do any kind of upgrades. Obviously, the hotel would like if you spend money on the property. They would like, but there's no obligation to. So they're hoping that you're going to spend money in the restaurants, the bars, the casino, the gift shop, etc. There's no obligation to do anything. There's no minimum requirement to spend or anything like that. There's no timeshare presentations. And they don't even know the difference of, we're just coming in booked as if it was another one of the online travel partners. So they don't even know, looking at the reservation, that, oh, this came from the complimentary hotel stay versus Expedia booking. It's coming through our wholesale platform in the background where the front desk staff has no idea it's anybody different.
Got it. So really it's just show up, enjoy, no different than any other destination where I'm just showing up and maybe I'm using some of the local services at the destination. Maybe I'm not. That's really up to me. And It's just no strings attached. Here you go. Enjoy, have some fun.
Yeah. Now we will be sending those guests who use the redeem vacations when they're traveling. We will be sending them that survey I mentioned, and we're going to be asking for a video testimonial, which many of them give us. And then that helps us provide the hotel with one more benefit from us. And that's another benefit. Now, there's no obligation to give us that video review, but a good percentage of people enjoy doing it. So we ask for reviews. And we've learned that if you don't ask, you won't get. But if you do ask, I think there's a saying, something like, if you ask, you shall receive.
Yeah, I think a few people have heard of that one.
Exactly.
Well, Marco, this has been terrific. I mean, I can go on and on about all the possibilities that are here, but I find we're bumping up against some time. So let's begin to shift gears as we start to wrap up the episode. And I have a thought experiment for you. And here's what it is. Think about the movie Back to the Future. And in the movie, you have that famous DeLorean car, a different kind of travel, I suppose, Marco, than what we're talking about, but it's travel nonetheless. And that DeLorean car can go to any point in time. So imagine now it's tomorrow morning, and Marco, you look outside your window, and there it is, the DeLorean car. It's not only sitting there, but the door is open, waiting for you to hop on in. So you can now go to any point in your life, Marco as a young child, a teenager, whatever the point would be, and you can tell your younger self, hey, Marco, here's some life wisdom or lessons learned, or do this, but don't do that. What would that look like and sound like for you?
I'd be going back and telling myself to invest more early on. And heck, I'd be going back and saying, buy Amazon stock in the year 2000. and Netflix, for that matter, early on. But yeah, I mean, I don't have, any mega regrets in my life. That would have been one. I would have loved to have had a bigger investment portfolio early on in my life. And so that could Simply answer that. Maybe that's not a very deep answer, but first thing that comes to mind.
Yeah, you know what? It's interesting. I've been very privileged. We've had so many terrific guests like yourself pass through the Deep Wealth podcast. And really, the recurring theme, much like what you said, you know what? I am where I am because of what happened in the past. And if I change that, that would potentially change the trajectory of my life. And I really don't want to change it. I'm very happy where I am and how things have turned out, even though there were some tough times in the past. Lots of learning lessons. What doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And yeah, let's just leave it as is. So you're very wise in saying that. And I think there's so much to just, hey, let me just appreciate where I am and enjoy the journey.
Yeah, it's been great. I mean, I got married young and 2 adult kids now. When you ask that question, I think back, well, might I have ended up with a different woman, therefore different kids, different life? It's like, I don't know. Main thing I would love to have is even bigger portfolio. So other than that, yeah, I wouldn't change too much.
I hear you loud and clear. And Marco, I'm going to put all of this in the show notes to make it really easy for our listeners. It'll be point and click. If someone would like to reach you online, where would be the best place?
I would just go straight to marketingboost.com. We do have a special offer I can offer your listeners too, Jeffrey. If they go to marketingboost.com/podcast, they can actually try Marketing Boost for 30 days for a $1 bill.
So, wow. Stop the presses. That doesn't get any better. I love that. That's terrific, Marco.
Yeah, 30 days for $1 at marketingboost.com/podcast. And don't forget, as soon as you do that, you can log in and give yourself the complimentary trip. I recommend Cancun, Mexico for you. Check out that process, book a trip, and become a Marketing Boost evangelist.
I love it. And you know what? I have a feeling that some of the listeners are saying, you know what? I'm just going to sign up just to take that trip for myself, forget everything else, and just enjoy. But Marco, listen, thank you so much for taking part of your day and spending it with us on the Sell My Business podcast. And as we wrap this up, as always, please stay healthy and safe.
Thank you.
The Deep Wealth experience was definitely a game changer for me.
This course is one of the best investments you will ever make, because you will get an ROI of 100 times that. Anybody who doesn't go through it will lose millions.
If you don't have time for this program, you'll never have time for a successful liquidity.
I mean, it was the best value of any business course I've ever taken. The money was very well spent.
Compared to when we first began, today I feel better prepared, but in some respects, maybe less prepared, not because of the course, but because the course brought to light so many things that I thought we were on top of that we need to fix.
I 100% believe there's never a great time for a business owner to allocate extra hours into his or her week or day. So it's an investment that will yield results today. I thought I will reap the benefit of this program in 3 to 5 years down the road. But as soon as I stepped forward into the program, my mind changed immediately.
There was so much value in the experience that the time I invested paid back so much for the energy that was expended.
The Deep Wealth experience compared to other programs is the top. What we learned is very practical. Sometimes you learn stuff that is great to learn, but you never use it. The stuff we learned from Deep Wealth experience, I believe is going to benefit us both.
I've done an executive MBA. I've worked for billion-dollar companies before. I've worked for smaller companies before I started my business. I've been running my business successfully now for getting close to a decade. We're on a growth trajectory. Reflecting back on the Deep Wealth, I knew less than 10% what I know now. Maybe close to 1% even.
Hands down, the best program in which I've ever participated. And we've done a lot of different things over the years. We've been in other mastermind groups, gone to many seminars, workshops, conferences, retreats, read books. This was so different. I haven't had an experience that's anything close to this in all the years that we've been at this. It's 5-star, A+.
I would highly recommend it to any super busy business owner out there. And Deep Wealth is an accurate name for it. This program leads to deeper wealth and happier wealth, not just deeper wealth. I don't think there's a dollar value that could be associated with such an experience and knowledge that could be applied today and forever.
Are you leaving millions on the table? Please visit www.deepwealth.com/success to learn more. If you're not on my email list, you'll want to be. Sign up at www.deepwealth.com/podcast. And if you enjoyed this episode of the Sell My Business podcast, please leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Reviews help me reach new listeners, grow the show, and continue to create content that you'll enjoy. As we close out this episode, a heartfelt thank you for your time, and as always, please stay healthy and safe.